Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. I know I had a mic problem last time. I hope everyone's doing great. We just had that new moon in Scorpio yesterday. Really big. Really remember, that was a big one. So set intentions, plant seeds. And I say that because it's taking action. Every sign is going to feel it differently. Every sign is going to feel different things brewing in their lives, these new beginnings, new opportunities, different areas in your life based on your sign. But when you take that inspired action, it's that action. It's the action of taking action that really raises your frequency, right? So what a crazy time this is going to be. And so that's what I'm going to talk about, like the energies that's happening right now. We're going to talk about polarity class. We're going to talk about polarity. But I really do want to remind you this is a big month. Even this weekend, there's so much happening, right? We've got Mars moving into Leo, just coming after that new moon that we had in Scorpio. That was trining Saturn. The sun's going to trine Saturn. I think that's in 2 days. So it is a really big weekend. There's a lot of aspects, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's all in your weekly forecast. But Mars moving into Leo is going to be a big thing. All right, that's very different from Mars in Cancer, where you're kind of like Mars in Cancer was a little bit more like holding things in, being like little things that could have. But now it's Mars in Leo, so there may be a little bit more on the offense and taking action. I mean, it's Leo it's the lion with a roar, right? The king, Leo, the king, the leader. So anyway, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody, wherever you are in this world. I am glad my microphone is working. The other thing is, yeah, Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius. Speaking of which, by the way, that's happening this weekend. I think it's tomorrow. What is it? What day is today? Second? Yeah, tomorrow. For the next 2 days after today, you're gonna have the moon with Venus and Mercury in Sagittarius. Really great time to take inspired action. You're gonna feel it too. You're gonna feel really moved. You're gonna be thinking big. You're going to maybe even plan travel. Anybody planning travel right now? Maybe you're taking a trip. Maybe you're gonna be taking a trip on the whim. Remember, Mercury is going retrograde this month as well. So keep that in mind. But this new moon in Scorpio, plant them seeds. Okay. A lot of this, the new moon that's happening right now that you're feeling, and, give it a window for about 2 weeks. I mean, it's setting up this new cycle for about 6 months, but there may be, Scorpio, we always say is, we say it's like sex, taxes, it's investments, death and rebirth. So it's all cycles that are happening. But remember, Mars and Pluto. Mars is opposite Pluto. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. Everyone may be feeling that a little bit. Those are the rulers of this new moon in Scorpio. Stingers can be out a little bit, right? Scorpio, the scorpion. So let's start there. How's everybody doing? Are you feeling the Mars opposite Pluto? That's going to go exact tomorrow. Okay, so there's going to be little things, and remember, that's not the only thing that's happening. We've got the Jupiter square Saturn, right? We've got that happening. We just had the Sun opposite Pluto. You're feeling that. Mercury, the T square with Jupiter and Saturn. I mean, there's a lot. The sun's going to square Saturn beginning of December. So that's why we're going to be feeling a lot of these energies. You're going to be tested a little bit. Let me give you an example. And this is actually like a very low kind of like when I talk about tests. I did a community post last week where I talked about, or I posted a photo that I went upstate and I had this really wonderful time with Ruby being able to walk on the grass and the land. It really helps with her like hips and whatnot rather than walking on the street. And then I did a lot of grounding, and it makes such a difference for me, right? Being in a place where I can actually see the stars. Like that's not, you can't see the stars in New York City, right? So it made a huge difference, really, really helped. But to get there, so the first thing that happened is getting out of the city is always a little bit challenging, depending on the day you leave and the time you leave. But I have a car, and I have a car that's parked in the garage, and you have to call them when to tell them that you're coming out to pick the car. Usually like 10 minutes, like whatever. And I actually got there like 15 minutes later. Usually, and every time the car's always been ready for me to just take. I had to wait an hour. So it was an hour of me waiting for the car, which has never happened before. So that was just like testing me a little bit. The minute that I got in my car, not even two, it was like 2 or 3 minutes into driving right before I go to the bridge, my GPS system just stopped working out of the blue, out of nowhere. And so that threw me off. And then I somehow, 30 minutes into this drive, like took the wrong exit, and so I ended up in New Jersey. So this is what like things are good. You're going to be tested in so many ways. So many ways. It took like 4 hours. It was normally like a 2 hour drive. It took like 4 hours to get there. And so yeah, there could have been, yeah. So here's the thing: the way I say test is like that road rage could have come out in me, but you just got to kind of keep your cool and just say, okay, universe, this is funny. You're throwing me this really funny test. I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass this test. You'll see. You'll see. And then when I got there, it was the most amazing weekend. And a lot of just amazing things happened through communications that I was having and whatnot. So really, really, really great. So again, just remember right now, especially with all these Saturn squares, Saturn, remember, is all about life lessons. We're going through a time where you're likely going to be tested. Okay. So I just want you to be aware of that. But remember, it's how you handle those situations that matter most. It's you coming out on top and being able to work with these tests. And it could even be your belief systems that are tested. It's whatever it's happening, whatever you feel tested in. Think about, when I pass this test, I'm just going to become a lot more wiser. Okay. Because with a lot of the energies that are happening right now, and this is in addition to astrology. I'm not just talking about astrology. I'm talking about the energies that I feel as an empath, as someone that, as and even like the solar flares. Oh my goodness! Like I'm sure you're feeling that. But yeah, it's things are going to get a little bit more test. Like what's going on, and you've got to remember that life can always throw you lemons, pickles, tomatoes, whatever, right? That's just what life is. Like everyone here, everyone watching this live stream right now have gone through circumstances and experiences that may have been a little bit challenging. You may be going through it now. That's what life is. And I always say life is not a Disney movie, but even when you think about Disney movies, the hero always goes through some sort of challenge to come out on top. So it's all about overcoming these challenges and not letting them defeat you, not letting them take your energy, not letting them make you feel that the hard times that you may be going through are something that's a wall that just keeps pushing you down. You've got to overcome them, right? Because how do you even rise? How do you even rise above? And there's nowhere to rise from. So you've got to look at these challenges as in, I'm going to take this on. I got this. I'm going to make this my own. I'm going to make it this my you know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so this is definitely going to be time, and I'm bringing this up because you may be feeling it for some weeks. For some of y'all, it could be some months, maybe even into next year, right? Well, we've got 2 months left, so it is, again, a time where a lot of people may be feeling some of those low energy frequencies, okay? But you've got to ask yourself, like, why am I feeling this? Why am I allowing this happen in my life, right? So as long as you're being your authentic self, you're playing your part, you're doing your job, right? And you're rising above because you're not letting anything take away your energy, right? And there's always been, we've been designed as human beings to be of service to others. So everything that we do, it's to have this impact on other people around you, right? That's basic human instinct. That is, the law of one. That's karma. And so again, this is you even leaving your energy signature, okay? Within your orbit, within your world, wherever you want to leave it, okay? Bringing that harmony, being your true authentic self, okay? and letting that shine. Remember, you've got this light inside you, so this is vibrating at this high frequency, not only for yourself but for your squad, your family, your lover, your community, your city, humanity, right? The solar system, however you want to feel. I mean, remember, we're going to be thinking big with Mercury and Sagittarius. So just feel empowered, because when you feel empowered, you can empower others, you can inspire others with the actions that you take. We all know that that's what life is like. Have, the actions we take have consequences, right? So just remember that we're all on a karmic journey, right? So how do you do that, by the way? Like, if you are feeling a little bit like of the energies right now, what helps? Well, first, I always say it, spend time in nature. And that really helped me. And I always make a point, even in the cities, spend time in nature. It works wonders, right? Get crystals. Crystals are always a really great, I mean, they vibrate. Crystals vibrate. Everything vibrates. I talk about this all the time. Everything is made of energy, but crystals, I mean, I have a whole video on that somewhere, right? The reason why they work so much. But there's a lot of great ones. I'm wearing some right now. I love these. I like, I have chalcedony, but I've talked about my favorite ones. Clear quartz is really great. Obsidian could be a really good time to do, like, for like shadow work, if you're into that. Like, obviously, I've talked about like amethyst. That's really great for meditation, opening your third eye, your pineal gland, all of that. Okay, so just remember that there's got to be some life lessons that you're going to be going through. I mean, you go through it all the time, but with the energies right now, it may be like it's not taking like up it, it's like, if you're in high school, it's not taking a test that you studied for. It's like a pop quiz. It's a surprise test that could be possible as well. Or it could be like you're studying for the SAT, something like a little bit more time consuming. Do they even exist? Do they even take SATs now? I don't know. So just putting that out there, because obviously we know there's some big events that are coming up. I know a lot of people are feeling these energies right now. There's big things that are happening around the world too. Mars opposite Pluto again. It's going like tomorrow is the big day. Is the big day. I actually wanted to do this video tomorrow because that's I want to come here and help you raise your frequency on a day where boom, Mars and Pluto are going to be like, let's be naughty. So just keep that in mind. Okay, just keep that in mind that you may feel it out for a few weeks. Okay, you may feel it out for a few weeks. And remember, you create your reality. So you're building these timelines first. There's so many different timelines. I've explained this when I channel, and when I tell you what I see, I always say for this timeline, because things change all the time. Okay, things change. The future is not known, and that is us putting energy into a certain timeline, right? As humanity, as an individual. Okay, is your squad, a collective, our collective, right? So it really is a time, again, working with these energies, knowing that you've got this. Okay, anybody have any questions so far? One thing that I've noticed is, I think a lot of people know this as well. When you are really in tune with your higher mind, when you are vibrating at this really high frequency, you see uh, all the signs that the universe gives you, all the little gifts, right? So it's really nice because you're aware, you're self-aware, you're in the moment, you're really connected, and you appreciate those gifts, and you're aware of those gifts. Okay, when you're vibrating at a low frequency, you wouldn't even know, like, you could have like the smallest thing happen, like maybe like you are not seeing eye to eye with your partner, but then you do, and at the same time the neighbor that made a lot of noise moves, right? And then at the same time maybe a family member that wasn't feeling well is feeling a lot better, and then maybe like got a little extra bonus in your bank account or whatever from your check. But still, if you're at that low energy frequency, you would still say nothing's happening for me. Like because you're wanting something else. Whereas you're ever saying like, I got you, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for you, but you're still in that low energy frequency where you're allowing all these energies to keep you in a place where it's hard for you to see all these great things that are happening for you, right? So always, again, just be in touch with yourself, and it just be in a place where it's all about being selfless. It's all about like being in touch with your higher mind, and letting your intuition guide you, and being connected, right? Being connected. Your guides are always there for you, right? Your guides are always there for you. Okay. And you're always manifesting. I think I brought this up in another, live stream, is that like when I say everything is made of energy, down to the molecular level, everything, 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 you, me, the plant on my desk, the crystals, like I mentioned. Um, well, you're vibrating, therefore you're manifesting. So it's not only hermetic principles, it's quantum physics, it's science. It's clearing any blockages that would get in your way of the things that you do want, right? So again, this is just a time where you may have some moments of testing your frequency as well. All right. Remember, you are on a karmic path. All right. And it's for everyone. And it's for everyone. It doesn't matter, how old you are. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It does not matter. Like none of that matters. Everyone goes through tests in their own ways. Everybody, every human being. Okay. If you're not going through tests or challenges, you are not a human being. You might be a humidifier. I don't know. You might be something else, but uh it's what I'm about to talk about. We're designed for it. Okay. Polarity. All right. We've talked, y'all know, who knows about polarity? Y'all know about polarity? The principle of polarity. You can't have light without dark. Well, there's a principle of polarity. Again, this is like another hermetic principle. It's a life principle, is what it is. It's just saying everything in life has opposites. Okay. And you can think of that as in, like hot and cold, right? You can think of that as dark and light as well, or, love and hate. But everything in life is just one and the same. I mean, you got to think of it's just like two sides of a coin. So everything is one and the same, but at varying degrees. I've talked about this. Think of a scale or a spectrum, a thermometer, right? There's this and then this, right? It's low frequency, high frequency. Okay. So if you're at this low frequency point where it's doubt and fear and maybe even like confusion, things like that, right? You want to go here. You want to go to this high frequency where it's optimistic and it's happy and it's empowerment. Okay. So it's all about shifting. And a lot of that's going to be, it has to do with your mindset, your belief system, and you being in touch with your higher self as well. So let's say, for example, you are at this point with Mars opposite Pluto. Let's say you're really not seeing eye to eye with someone, like someone in your family, like a friend, whoever it is. Maybe you're really, really angry at them. Okay. So that's that low energy frequency with that anger. So you got to ask yourself, like, pause and ask yourself, why am I angry at this person? How do I come to grips with this? How do I shift to this high energy frequency? How do I get to a place where this person that I'm angry at, who is taking my power, this person's affecting me, you're not affecting them, right? That person's affecting you. How do I get to a point where they're not taking my power, right? How do I recognize, how do I transmute that energy? Okay, so this is where, ego can come into play as well. Remember, I said there's a difference between the physical mind and the higher mind. You can even see that on the same scale as well. All right, so ask yourself that, have that moment, like, why am I angry at this person? Okay, I've recognized it. Now, what is the solution? What can I do? Do I send them a text? Can I, be the better person in this situation? Can I have a conversation? Can I tell them why I'm angry at them, or do something where I'm just more at peace? And if it's someone that is just not on the same page with you, well, at least you've done your best. There's your peace, right? You can even like have those meditations so you're no longer angry at this person where they're taking your power. I remember for a long time there was someone that I'll be a couple people that I held in, that I was angry at for a lot of things that happened when I was younger. And I just couldn't let it go for many, many, many years. And then it was actually during COVID, when we were all isolated and we had a lot of time to think. It was during that time I was able to forgive those person. And, even though I, in my head, knew that I did nothing wrong, I was able to have that moment, forgive that person, and everything shifted for me. Everything shifted for me. Okay. So again, that, when we talk about those polarities, you can even see that as divide, right? So you can see that there is, with the energies happening right now, there may be a lot of low frequency energies that are happening. Okay. And when that happens, it's almost like people are walking in this quicksand. Um, but then look at the people who are not. Look at the people who can still rise above that, right? And then, have this is that because I'm up here, I'm invincible, and this is my karmic journey. I'm going to be rewarded. I'm going to, get healthier. I'm going to recover. I'm going to let, wonderful things happen in my life. Do you see how, like, there's such a difference? It's like when you think about frequencies, um, and then you spread your light as well, and you have this impact on others, right? So the point is that it's you putting your energy out there, right? What is the energy you want to bring back to you? What is the energy that you want to receive? Any questions so far? I'm going deep, aren't I? I'm going really deep. Let me see some of your questions here. As you said, with holidays coming up, a lot of people feel their emotions are hypersensitive. Yeah, absolutely. And again, you're gonna see there's just the energies of even just all of November, even like when we dip into set or December for a little bit, you're gonna feel a lot of really strong emotional energies. But again, how do you handle those energies? Okay. How do you become invincible in a place where you may feel others are not seeing eye to eye with you? Maybe they're at a low energy frequency. None of that should matter. It should be you, and you always being the best version of yourself and being in touch with your higher mind. Okay. Um, Marilyn, it's so great to see all of y'all, by the way. Marilyn, you said, I now have a fear of opening up because I have horrible premonition dreams, working on how dim those uh, r- lights right now while I'm opening up completely. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's, and that's what I'm saying is like it's great that you're working on that, okay? Working on that and understanding that a the very first thing that you said, I know I have fear of opening up. So ask yourself, why I always say fear is fiction. It's something that we create in our heads. And you say you have horrible premonition dreams, but how, like, I have a lot of dreams as well that are that I see things like you, and you should see it as a gift. How do you work it where you don't see them as horrible? How do you interpret them in a way where it is something that's helping others, right? And so it's really shifting that mindset. When you start off a sentence saying, I know I have the fear of opening up, that is that source of, okay, so that's low energy frequency. How do I see it as like, I don't have a fear of that? I don't like, there's no fear. I don't, that's something that's deeply rooted in the subconscious. What is the subconscious is where we store our memories. So a lot of experiences that we had when we were kids, right? They stay with us, especially with it was something that we perceived as bad, as the words that you said, either horrible and whatnot. So it's working with doing a lot of shadow work first of all, but going within it and being able to work with those energies. Okay, and sometimes it's going to be, like I said, sometimes it can be really challenging to go to places from your past, but then you're unrooting that, you're easing that, you're making things so much easier for you when you recognize the things that you perceived a certain way. You can shift that belief. You can completely shift that belief. But it is great that you're working on that, and that's what I think I mentioned that in your weekly forecast, like all the shadow work that Scorpio season's requiring of you. It's definitely going to be something beneficial as long as you use it to again do it for the greater good, for you, for the people around you. It is so relieving. It's so relieving. It's so nice to have that. Um, Leah, can you put the link for the crystals? Oh yeah. Let me find that for you. Maureen, you said if you forgave them, are you still friends? Yeah, so this is where it gets a little complicated because one of them, oh gosh, I'm getting really personal. So one of them was, in high school that like we don't even talk anymore. Like they have their own life and I have my own life and I don't even know how, I wouldn't know how to get in touch with that person. And so it was me having to have a moment of forgiving that person, okay? Something that I held a grudge for for a long time. But again, that person was taking my energy. I wouldn't say that person was taking my energy. I would say I was allowing that person to take my energy because I was feeling a certain way based on a situation that happened in the past. So I wanted to not have that have an impact on my life anymore. And so that was not a person that I could have sent an email again. Like I wouldn't have known how to get into this person. So it was more for me to really make peace with something that why would I hold on to that energy for decades? You know what I mean? Like, so I did it for me, okay? And it was so cathartic and it was so relieving. And some things you can do, I believe in, the power of uh I feel like I've mentioned this before, but you can actually do a lot of things physically as well that help. Again, it's like actually doing meditation, using crystals, going to like wellness retreats, whatever works for you. Everyone's different. I had to do a lot of really long walks that in nature in silence, like nothing, like not even music. Like I had to like just be connected with the earth. Um, so, Contessa of the Divine, you asked, I want to know if you use whole sign or another type of astrology. That's a really that's a really good question. And I so and for people who don't know what that means, there's a lot of house systems that it's got to be like over 100 at this point, maybe even like 150. There's like Placidus, there's different types of astrology too. There's evolutionary, there's even financial. I mean, there's so much. So that's a really good question. Because of my chart and because of the way that I was mentored and the way that I learned, I had to learn both Placidus and whole sign. And it's because my chart, I have a lot of planets at late degrees. And so when you shift it to whole house, my chart completely changes. Everything changes. And so for me, I kind of have and this is where a good, being intuitive really helps, because some astrologers, they will only rely on the charts they're reading, but I have to be able to be very intuitive with the person that I'm connecting with to see what chart that I'm reading works the best, if that makes any sense. So, because I know that it's more about the interpretation rather than the charts, okay, or the house system. And again, a lot of people will use different house systems. There's, even Vedic astrology. So I have to be very open minded because of my late degree planets. I think that gives me an advantage because it's going to say one thing with Placidus, it's going to say a whole other thing with whole sign houses. And so for me personally, again, when I use whole sign, everything in my chart shifts. And based on what's happening with the aspects, it shifts. It shifts, okay, between Placidus and whole house. So I'm very open-minded. And some astrologers have been doing this for like 20, 30, 40 years. They have their own system. They don't go by like, oh, I'm whole house, or oh, I'm so everyone has their own system and their method. And again, thankfully that I can intuitively read a person and determine by that what makes the most sense. And then again, you can look at the historical patterns of what's been happening in their life. So I hope that answers your question. um Kristen, you asked regarding shadow work obsidian, can you recommend someone's printed work for steps to do this? I'm not sure if I someone's printed work for steps to do this. I'm not sure if I understand that question. But I think it might be a typo. I'm assuming there may be a typo somewhere in there. So if you want to ask that again, great to see you, Jeanette. The other thing that I was going to say is that, one thing that we can be very optimistic about is that Pluto is moving into Aquarius. Now, we've waited 250 years for this. Pluto's dipped into Aquarius back and forth a little bit throughout, the past 2 years. You saw that earlier this year. Pluto will be moving into Aquarius officially, mid-month for 20 years. And Pluto is all about the, humanitarian. It's all about the people. It's all about the masses. We're moving into this new era where it's all about the, everyday people. There's going to be a shift. The power is going to the people. You're going to see the good in humanity, and you're going to play a big role in this. Okay. You're definitely going to play a big role in this with the power to the people, the power to the masses. Okay. There is a sense of freedom and independence, thinking for yourself, the power of good, building the humanity, the mankind that you want to see. It's going to be very interesting. Okay. Because Pluto and Capricorn is very different. The power went to corporations and other, without going into it. But now again, it's all the power is going to the people. Okay. You can even think that in like how do I even like, let's say for instance, like you go on Rotten Tomatoes, right? And you want to know like the review about a movie. Sometimes you can see like they always kind of like pull all the editors from top publications and then they give a score based on that. And then you have the users, the everyday people that they leave their reviews to. It's almost like that. It's like people are going to rely more on like what the people are saying, right? They're going to go see a movie based on what the people are saying rather than the critics, if that makes any sense. I'm not just like not literally, but that's just like a metaphor. It actually could happen, but again, more about the people. Okay, so putting that energy, like what direction do you want humanity to go? It's going to be very different. We're going through some big changes next year. I've talked about this, but we're not going to be in the same place we are now when we get to 2025, especially when we get to spring, summer. We got to get out of these retrogrades. We got to, and like the beginning of 2025. Oh gosh, I got to do your annual forecast. It's just like we got Mercury retrograde, we got Mars retrograde, we have Venus retrograde, it's just there's so much happening. And then you've got the 4 outer planets changing signs. Like what? What? With Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. You know, some of this is going to be a little bit before they go permanently in 2026, but it's not even those four. You can throw Jupiter in the mix. Jupiter's changing signs too, so it's five. It's five planet, like all condensed in 1 year. That is like it's big. It's big. Okay. It's really, really, really big. So yeah, it's all about taking those inspired actions and vibrating at this high frequency, because you will likely see for the next few weeks a lot of really strong energies with Mars opposite Pluto. That is, you know, again, a little Dennis the Menace, and things that may be testing you, things what may feel really hard. You're going to obviously feel, when I talk about polarities, there may be this great divide. You're feeling that now, where people stand, right? But I want to tell you something. I want to remind you of, when was it? Okay, so I don't know if you remember, we had a total solar eclipse in the US. This was in 2017. I believe it was August 2017. It was a big deal, right? It was a big deal. This total solar eclipse, new moon total solar eclipse. I think it was in Leo, actually, in August 2017. The first time that we've seen it here in the US, and like I think it was like 40 years, 45 years. Remember what, I don't know if y'all remember what happened, but there was a lot of people not seeing eye to eye for a long time. Okay, throughout 2017, there was a lot of things where there was a lot of heavy energies, but then we got to the eclipse and all of that was gone. Okay, there was that time, I don't know if you remember, there was this great quiet, there was this great merging of humanity, everyone awe-inspired by this eclipse. Okay, there were no sides at that time. Everyone putting this energy, this high vibration frequency, into this beautiful celestial thing that was happening in our country, right? So well, in America, but it was happening all around the world, all around the world. So we as human beings have the power to shift energies. We saw that. We saw that during the eclipse. Okay, we have this power to put our egos aside and vibrate at this high frequency, and all be, you know, humans being a verb, humans being, right? So energy is real. It's shifts that, again, it's something that you're going to feel with Pluto and Aquarius, but you all play a part. We all play a part in this. We play a really big part. Okay, so any other questions that any other questions about vibrating at this high frequency? I really want everybody to just you know, do it for you. Do it for you, because you're going to have an impact on others around you. Okay. Aaliyah, you said Taurus, Scorpio, Moon, Sagittarius rising. We're all oneness, so never hate. You only have yourself. With that, vibrate with love and manifest for everyone to become enlightened. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Leah, you asked, will you ever start to do personal readings? Yeah, so that's a really good question. I probably won't know until next year. So I have to figure that out. There's a lot of changes that are happening in my little orbit as well. So I'm not in a place where I can make a just like say whether I am or not. It just depends on other factors that are happening in my life. So hopefully I'll be able to. If I do, I don't think it'll be a lot that I can do. Because of the number of hours I work and changes that have been happening at my job as well. There's a lot. So you may actually start seeing a lot of changes that are happening with my channel as well. So anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later when I have a better idea of what's going on. But yes, hopefully, yeah, I'll be able to. But At the same time, I don't know if I will. I'm sorry I can't give you a a better answer than that. Um, DJB TV, you said, so will we finally be in the age of Aquarius like they sang about the musical Hair? That's so funny. So there's a lot of different stances on when we do enter the age of Aquarius. There are going to be some people that saying, yes, we're entering the age of Aquarius. Now, there's some people that say that, well, no, that's not happening that's not going to be within our lifetime. That's like another 100, 200 years from now. I'm I'm saying that we're at a place where moving into Aquarius is radical. Remember, Pluto's radical, okay? Revolutionary. So are we moving into it? I think that a lot of people will maybe in about 5 years' time say, yes, we are. We're here. We're definitely here. So um I I think that we're within the orbit of it. I think that we're within the orbit of it, and you're gonna start feeling the energies of it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I do believe that we are very, very near. Very, very near. Mhm. Mhm. Remember, Pluto's gonna be in Aquarius for 20 years. That's a long time. And again, you're gonna see a lot of advancements in technology. It is all about technology, AI, space. Remember, Aquarius rules space. There's a lot of things that are happening in the sky. There's, I feel like we're all gonna see that very soon. Okay, with things from outer space. I think that's gonna be something that is gonna be in the books for the next few years. There's gonna be a lot of change. I can't even downplay that with Pluto moving into Aquarius. You're gonna feel it, and you're gonna see it, and you're gonna see things maybe moving really fast in terms of advancements and in space and technology. And again, humanity plays a big picture in that. Okay. Community. Remember, that's what Aquarius is. Um, but that's a really good question. Okay, so Kristen, you said clarifying on Shadow's work. Would you recommend a book, an author, person who trusts to begin this work? Um, I think that I might bring someone as a guest. Okay, that can do this. That can talk more about it. I can definitely guide you and walk you through it. Maybe I'll do a video, but I feel like there's some of that is really great that that's thanks for asking that question because now I know I'm gonna email someone right after this. Okay. Okay, so any questions about what's going on? I wonder if there's anything about like polarity. Remember, just to continue to shift your frequency. Um, in a certain direction, the direction that you want humanity to go to, right? Remember, you all play a part. We're a collective. We're a collective, but taking those inspired actions, right? For yourself as well. Anybody have any questions about anything that's coming up? That's Maureen, you said, Jimmy, don't leave YouTube. Are you getting a promotion? Love seeing you every week in your readings. I really appreciate it, Maureen. Thank you so much. Um, I can confirm that I'm not leaving YouTube, but with my job, there's something else happening. So I may have to, and so that would be for I wanted, thank you so much for being members. It really is helpful. It gives me an opportunity. It allows me to continue to do these videos where I'm not at the point of like burnout, but I am also at that point where I need help. So there just maybe changes. If you are watching this video, because I'm going to post this after, you know, and you're a subscriber, becoming a member would be very helpful, and it's always appreciated. And I can't even express my gratitude for that. I think there's going to be I've got to do your annual forecasts. I'm going to do that. I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I'm actually going to be driving, so I can't drive more than like 3-4 hours at a time. I have to break it up, so I stop in other cities. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do your annual forecasts like throughout the drive, or when I'm in different cities on, let's just call it like a road trip. But there's a lot more content that I'll be pumping out. But I think that when I say there's going to be changes, I think there's going to be some things that I do that are more helpful for you. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's going to be something that's really nice. But at the same time, I may also do a lot more live streams. I'm also likely going to do maybe something weekly in terms of live streams, but I'm just going to keep it to the members because, again, your support goes such a long way, and I want to give back to that as well. Okay, so you're, again, likely going to see these changes throughout the next few months, but I don't want to put anything written. So with all these retrogrades, we're moving into a lot of retrogrades. So I just want to be mindful of that, and I have to see what happens with my current things that are happening in my world as well. um Thank you so much. Like all of your messages. Pauline, you said it feels like a long tower moment I am experiencing right now. Yes, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like the energies can be really strong right now, and so it's working with those. And remember, there's same thing with tarot. There's hope in every card. There's light and shadow. I always say that it's speaking of polarities, right? You need darkness to see light, literally. So sometimes you have to go through these experiences, but like even with the tower, it's like I love it. I love changes. That's just who I am as a person. I love these challenges, and some of them obviously can be really really hard, and it's not that I'm like inviting it into my life, but I like where I can get to a point where I can help others, because when I have a tower moment, that's a big life lesson for me. But when other people have tower moments, like I can be there for them. I can do things for them. I can help others, but it's just so I know I'm not like coasting. Y'all, I've got Uranus in my sixth house. Like my life is always like there's nothing that's just like plateauing. There's so much that like it's kind of crazy. Anyway, I'm not even gonna go into it, but um thank you so much, y'all. Summer, you asked if I have a new job offer with another company, it's a good time to change with all the retrogrades coming up. Yeah, so I always say with the retrogrades, I mean, I think with Mars retrograde, it's just be mindful of what's happening in your life and trust your intuition on anything that, remember, Mars is going to retrograde in December, and then we're going to see that it's going to go back into Cancer next year and then back into Leo. We've got Mars in Leo and Cancer until April. And so with the retrogrades, yes, just be mindful because it's happening at the same time. Well, Mercury's going to be retrograde too. And you never really want to launch anything or start something new, but it doesn't mean that you can't. I think I've said this before. Like I've actually taken a new job knowing that Mercury was going to be retrograde and I had, no other options. This was years ago. So I went into it knowing that there may be some changes that happen. I might not like it. They're going to happen. But what happened is, yes, everything changed. Everything changed I that fueled me to leave, right? about a year and a half, 2 years later. But the place that I like, my dream job, if I had never been at the only reason this place where I work at my dream job hired me is because of my former position. Does that make sense? So everything happens for a reason. So I wouldn't do anything because, like, oh, Mercury's retrograde or Mars is retrograde, so I can't do this and I can't do this. It just means that there may be some things that change later, but if you can use these, I always say you can use these aspects to your advantage. Okay, just know that things may not go exactly as you want it, but you can land somewhere else after that's even better. But you've got to put that energy out there. You've got to be vibrating at this high frequency, because what could have happened at that job, which again was, let's just say that I was in very low energy frequency at that job. And I was tested every day. And I was like, I can't do this. And it was at Mercury retrograde, because a lot of things that happened was the contract that I signed, the duties I had were nothing based on that. It was just really, really, really weird. Um, but then I just wouldn't let that take my power. And, I left without having any backup plan. I think I mentioned this. It was during eclipse. I walked into work and I just quit. I just quit. I had no backup plan, but I was so relieved. I was so happy that I did it. And then one thing led to another, connected to another. And again, the job that I'm at now, 99% never would have hired me had I not had that other company in my resume. So, does that make sense? You create your reality. You know that. I keep remember, you create your reality. So with Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, I'm not telling you not to do anything. Just be mindful. Okay. It's, when we say Mercury's retrograde and don't sign contracts, don't do any of that. Like, it's more to say, like, it's an easier way to say things might change. And rather than giving you this long-winded answer of like what could possibly happen in Mercury retrograde, we're just like, try to avoid signing anything. Mercury is agreement. And when it's retrograde, things can, change a little bit, but then Mercury's going to be retrograde. It's going to go into shadow. It's just like a whole other thing that it's going to be until January. So it's just a very interesting time. Let's just keep it that way. It's a very interesting time. But do what your intuition tells you. Okay. That's what matters the most. Obviously, these aspects are going to have a really big impact. But do what you feel intuitively is right. Okay. Um, and that's another thing. I've been looking at, properties, for instance. I think I mentioned this in one of my last live streams. And, I did find one that was like perfect. I would have signed on the spot and it was like perfect. But my intuition was saying, hold off a little bit. Just hold off a little bit. And so I'm trusting my intuition. And rather than signing on the spot, and now I feel really good about it rather than just impulsive, like, oh my gosh, I love it. Because I know that something's going to play out that will benefit me later. Okay. Because I am trusting my intuition. Always trust your intuition. Oh my gosh, Leah, thank you so much for the $20. Oh my gosh, now I can have brunch. I'm joking. No, I really appreciate it. Lele, oh, you finally made a live stream. Well, thank you so much for being here. That's I love y'all coming on board and being part of this. I love, like I said, like speaking with y'all. Aaliyah, you asked, oh, Kristen, thank you so much. Oh, I love that little fox clapping. That's really cute. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of y'all. You know that. And I feel so, and it's such a, I feel like it might be like a strange thing to say, but I do feel like this connection because I allow this connection to exist with, all the, anyway. So I won't get like, come on, I got my Mercury in my eighth house. I can go deep. Aaliyah, you said, do you have any premonitions on anything that could maybe happen? Listen, that's a really good question. I feel like I know that. Okay, so here, okay, why don't I do this? It is. So remember what I said earlier, like timelines always change. Okay. So it's very interesting because I will, when I'm channeling, when I'm sitting there, when I'm meditating, when I'm seeing things, I'll see a certain outcome. Okay. But then maybe a month later, I'll see a different outcome. And then maybe a month later, I see a different outcome. Does that make sense? Same thing with astrology. With astrology, and, it's very arguable. You will have these old school astrologers who have been doing it for 40, 50 years, who really understand, like, there's a difference between these astrologers who have 40, 50 years experience and like TikTok astrologers who have 2 years experience. It's very, very different. But here's the thing. And it's not saying anything is wrong with them. I'm saying they bring different things to the table, right? They bring very different things to the table. But it's the older ones, the ones who have got, who've been doing this for a long time, who will say astrology is not a predictive tool. It's not meant for prediction, it's meant for guidance. Same thing with tarot, anything esoteric. So what's really interesting with the astrology of what I feel like that you are alluding to is that it is something, again, it can go either way, and there's premonitions of anything that can happen. It's based on interpretations, and there sometimes could be a vagueness for a reason. There's pros and cons for things. For if you want to think about different sides, there's pros and cons for different sides. So I think that's one reason why, I'll just say, like, astrologers may it's hard for them to predict anything here, but it's the same thing with tarot. And I'll tell you, with tarot, I've actually done uh some spreads just to see. I was just curious. And I can't even begin to tell you how, even doing tarot, like, it will not tell you, but like guide you into, this is something where it is up to the person, it is up to the energies, and it's up to the people who afterward still have to continue to vibrate at this high frequency. But yeah, timeline shift, right? And humanity can shift timelines. I hope you know that. I hope that that's something. It's all about the energy that you put out there. And it's, again, your timeline for yourself. It shifts. Again, it's such an interesting thing to even see these things. Like, I've been seeing things all the way back since, April. And a lot of the things that I've seen, have happened. I talked about this. There's a lot of things that I have in my little book here too that, I'm just like, okay, I don't think I'm meant to tell this to you, but and those have come true. But then again, there's certain things where it's just like, okay, that's different now because the timelines have shifted. And so the less that we can fear things, the less that we feel that, fall into this energy, like low frequency energy, that's a little bit more like, if like anxious about something, or feeling like, there's uh, just that, fear, right? Remember, fear is fiction. If you can move into this higher frequency, you can shift a timeline. Okay. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm trying to like okay. Any other questions? I know that there's oh gosh, I have to go to take Ruby out. Kristen, you said, I think the holidays expectations throw folks off kilter too. My whole life changed just 4 months ago. It was good. That's great. It was hard. It's still a huge challenge. And thanks to you all. We're a collective, and I'm so happy to hear that. And really, I mean, that's really great. This is just, that's what I'm talking about. Like, excited about, like, overcoming these huge challenges. DJB TV, you said, no one gets me out of bed so early on a weekend. Then Jimmy, oh my gosh, yeah, you're in San Francisco. I try not to miss one of your lives. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll do a little bit later one next time. I know my schedule's a little like, I have to do these a little bit early because my weekdays are just packed. but I'll do them a little later. And I really wanted to do it tomorrow, but I think with the daylight savings, it's just gonna throw a lot of things off. But thank you. I'm glad that I get to I'm like your wake up call or your alarm bell, or was it like the wake up the alarm? I love that. And Harwood, you said string theory. Yes, I love string theory. I'm such a string theory nerd. That's, even like we're talking about vibrations, right? We're talking about particles, and anyway, I'm not gonna. That's another. I could be here for hours. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, DJBTV. Thank you for the $10. And Harwood, thank you so much. You're in Canada. I love that. Oh, you got that little fox too. Oh my gosh. I love and Kristen, thank you so much. Fear is a great eater of life. Uh love to all. Y'all, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the donations. I really, again, y'all mean so much to me, and I feel that it is something that I'm here to do, is to be there for you and to help guide you and just to share these experiences with you. Again, we are a collective. You can see collective as in, again, it can be like your family, your squad, your group, your whatever collective means for you. But I feel like we're all part of this collective, and I feel really great about it. And so I'm really, really grateful to be connected to you all. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And remember to, set those intentions, plant those seeds, inspired actions with this new moon in Scorpio. And again, just continue to vibrate at this high frequency. And you're gonna feel that difference. And I feel like, I mean, it's clear that all of y'all are. So it's staying there, that because again, you may feel a little tested the next few weeks with a lot of these squares and oppositions, but you've got this. I'm here for you as well. And then I do have your y'all, and then we got a big full moon coming up in Taurus. That one's really big. I'm doing your videos on that. They're gonna come out this week on when we have that full moon. That's going to be, like around mid-month. That one's big. So that one's like, wow, it's conjuncting Uranus. So there can be some like changes and shifts. I feel like for the readings, I've done a couple of them already, but I forgot to say that. Remember that, with Uranus, it's the unexpected. It's surprises. There's going to be like shocks and surprises, and Uranus, the lightning bolt. That's going to be happening around this full moon. But remember, it all depends on your energy. Like some of y'all can feel it like a 1 out of 10. Some of y'all can feel like, 6 out of 10. That's just how it is. All of y'all are different. You have different birth charts. You have different, you know what I mean? Like, so it's how you handle the energies, right? So it's always how you handle the energies, but just know that November is just a big month. There's just so much to talk about. But anyway, y'all, Rachel, thanks for the $5. And Tammy, thanks for the all these foxes. I love these little fox cartoons. That's so cute. I love these foxes. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are amazing. Kristen, you asked, would you fly? Would you like to fly down for the holiday? Maybe your supporters can gather an offering for this. Anyone? Maybe. I don't know. I'm driving for the holidays because I know Mercury is going to be retrograde and holidays. And and again, don't let Mercury retrograde not let you travel. Like I'm traveling during Mercury retrograde, and I know that with this Mercury retrograde, it's going to be a little different. And I'm going to talk about when it actually happens in your weekly forecast. But I am just Ruby, because of her knee and her, hip issues. It's not the best time to put her on a flight, or her being in her little crate. So that's why I'm just going to be driving down to Atlanta and taking my time doing it. I think it's going to be easier for her. So anyway, yeah. Maybe I'll do something in here. Oh, Teresa, thank you so much. Y'all, y'all are really amazing. I really appreciate y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna go. I gotta go take Ruby out, and I gotta go have brunch. I gotta go eat. Y'all really take advantage of this new moon. Remember, it is a portal. Set those intentions, plant those seeds. Really use this. Use this new moon for you. Okay, it's got to be really nice. And just remember that this is you can own anything. You can own, don't let anything take your power. Feel that empowerment. That's, remember, it's in Scorpio. It's power, right? This new moon in Scorpio. So feel all that power. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you. And we'll do this again. We'll do this again. I gotta figure out some dates, but I gotta do we'll figure it out. Okay. Y'all, thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you very soon. Okay. Thank you. Bye, y'all. Bye bye.